What's up, Mets fans? It's your boy CP, and welcome back to the latest episode of the True Mets Talk podcast. We are only 2 days away from the very first spring training live action game for our beloved New York Mets, but we do have a bombshell that was recently dropped on us with the Kodai Senga injury report. We'll be talking about that and how this injury could affect the Mets rotation going into opening day of 2024. As always, before we get into that, make sure you hit that thumbs up, comment your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. I want to hear what you all as viewers have to think about this injury. And as always, bottom right-hand corner as you watch this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I've been giving my thoughts and opinions all morning on X, so make sure you follow me there for more Mets talk and for more True Mets Talk podcast updates. And we will be going live tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Friday for the Interstate Mets Report with a special guest, Matt from Sunny Days and Flushing will be joining us. Make sure you all are looking out for that stream. We'll be talking more about this injury. As always, let's go Mets and let's get into it.
You are now watching the True Mets Talk podcast, talking New York Mets baseball 24/7, 365, with your host, CP.
All right, let's talk about this Kodai Senga injury. We now have an official diagnosis past the original quote-unquote arm fatigue report that we saw yesterday. David Stearns gave an update today to the media at 10 a.m. calling it a moderate posterior capsule shoulder strain. And I decided to run a poll yesterday as soon as the initial arm fatigue report came out and that Kodai Senga had skipped his workout to work with the trainers. I ran a poll on my YouTube channel in the community tab asking Mets fans what their initial reactions were to the Kodai Senga arm fatigue report. Were they worried, yes or no? And as you can see, 50% of the 34 votes said that they were very worried. Only a handful of people said that they were only slightly worried / not jumping to conclusions. And that lowly 9% was not worried at all. More power to them, keeping a very positive outlook on it. But I decided to ask this to just get a sense and a feeling for the Mets fan base in lieu of this injury. We know the Mets have a vast injury history, especially most recently last season coming out of the gates with Justin Verlander. And with this bombshell being dropped on us, I just wanted to get a little bit of a vibe check amongst this Mets fan base and how everyone was feeling knowing that Kodai Senga had that arm fatigue. But like I said, we definitely now know what it is. We have an official diagnosis, and we know per David Stearns that Kodai Senga is going to be shut down completely until that shoulder capsule starts feeling better. And this was a direct quote from Kodai Senga himself that he gave to the media. At this time, I'm not going to be able to perform at my highest level. And so giving a little bit of time is the right move for now. And that was directly from Kodai Senga. And this now begs the question with opening day just a little over a month away in that opening day series against the Brewers, how this rotation is scheduled to look out and what are some options to sort of backfill this rotation in the absence of Kodai Senga. Now, obviously, we don't have a full timetable of Kodai Senga. This is just sort of the initial reports. We'll keep on monitoring what the timetable is for him. I don't even think Kodai Senga or the Mets know what a timetable looks like for him because this is just so fresh. But nonetheless, this is how your opening day rotation without Senga looks like as of right now. You have Jose Quintana sliding up to be that number one option. And I know it's not pretty on the surface level, but it is what it is right now. This is what the Mets have to work with moving forward. You have everybody slotting up one spot. Luis Severino right behind Jose Quintana, Sean Manaea, Adrian Hauser as your four, and I put Tyler McGill in there tentatively as the number 5. And the only reason I did that was because it seems like Tyler McGill, time and time again, is the Mets fallback to sort of replace any starter that may go down as the season starts. Obviously, we saw last year he was the opening day starter for the New York Mets, and To be honest with you, I really do think that he is going to be that number one option to start off this 2024 season if he does well in spring training. I know a lot of people don't like Tyler McGill. They are sick of the Mets giving him chances. He has a nice little arsenal working on that new splitter that we've been hearing so far in camp. We'll see how that materializes. And coming up this Saturday in just 2 days, on February 24th, he is going to be making his first start of the season in the very first spring training live action game for the New York Mets, as I believe they take on the Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll continue to monitor Tyler McGill, but nonetheless, this is how the rotation looks as of right now. And I know it's not pretty, but we need to let this play out because there's going to be a competition now. There was always going to be a competition for that sixth starter spot, but now there's going to be a competition for that fifth starter spot as well as that sixth starter spot. And this is how it's going to look like with those internal options. Tyler McGill, obviously, with the star. I have him slotted in as that number 5 right now. This is subject to change. That is just my initial opinions right now. Like I said, I do prefer Joey Lucchesi over Tyler McGill, but if I had to guess, they are not going to roll with 3 lefties in that rotation, that 5-man rotation, with Jose Quintana, Sean Manaea, and then Joey Lucchesi. They're going to opt for the 3 righties instead with Tyler McGill. But Joey Lucchesi is still there, still vying for that spot. If I had to guess, if he is not part of that 5 or 6-man rotation, he is going to be that long relief guy for the New York Mets in that bullpen. You have Jose Butto that could also be a spot starter / long man in the bullpen. Probably will be direct competition with Joey Lucchesi for that spot, whatever it may be. And then you have your 2 rookies, and we will see how they fare in spring training with Mike Vasil and Christian Scott. I dropped a video on my channel about Mike Vasil and Christian Scott, a little bit more about their statistics in the minors last season, especially with who they are as pitchers and their arsenal. Make sure you go check that out in the description if you missed it. I'm going to link that. It provides a little bit greater context because now as we move forward to spring training, we're going to be seeing a lot more emphasis on these 2 guys. And Mike Vasil, in my opinion, if he does well enough, is going to be an option to crack that opening day roster and potentially grab a rotation spot if the Mets are not confident in a Tyler McGill, Joey Lucchesi, or Jose Butto, or they want to reserve 1 or 2 of those 3 for the bullpen. You will see a guy like Mike Vasil probably get your the opening day crack more so than Christian Scott, because I think the general consensus is that Mike Vasil is a little bit more ready than Christian Scott. I do think Christian Scott has a lot better tool set, a lot better arsenal, and a lot more upside than Mike Vasil. But just with where they're at and where they finished that last season in the minor leagues, I think Mike Vasil might make that push for the opening day roster if he performs well in spring training. Now, a lot of people in lieu of this injury are going to jump to conclusions. I've already seen it on social media talking about Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell, the 2 big fish in the pond in this free agent market. It is crazy to me that they are still on the market, but nonetheless, they are 2 lefties that have pretty decent sample size to go along with them. Quite simple. I'm going to keep it very simple here in terms of these external options. I don't think that they are going to be options for the New York Mets. I don't think that the David Stearns in his front office are going to be panic buyers. So if you are getting your hopes up for these 2 options, I would say slow your roll. I don't think their price is going to come down enough to where the Mets are going to bite. Obviously, a lot of factors go into play here. The number of years that they're looking for, the AAV that they're looking for, and obviously their price may be coming down a little bit with teams sort of holding out and not giving into what they initially are asking. But nonetheless, I don't think the price comes down enough for the Mets to budge there. Obviously, the tax penalty is something to take into consideration here. No matter what these 2 are going to make, it's probably going to be upwards of 20, 25, even getting into the 30 mil AAV range. And the tax that the Mets would pay on that this season, given where the luxury tax is just going to be astronomical. So I don't think it's feasible. I don't think either of these guys are going to take a 1-year deal regardless. So it doesn't quite make sense why the Mets would switch up their game plan. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Would I be thrilled with the signing of Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell? Yes, maybe more so Jordan Montgomery because Blake Snell does have that qualifying offer attached to him still. But nonetheless, these are 2 great options. I just don't think it's realistic or feasible for the Mets to switch up their game plan that they've had this entire offseason to prioritize those two over the internal candidates that you see at the top of your screen. But if I am wrong, we will see how the market plays out. We've been hearing some buzz around Blake Snell, a little bit quieter on the side of Jordan Montgomery, but we'll see where those two pitchers land for their next team. But I want to sort of make this video to sort of, I guess, not calm Mets fans down, but just say that this could have been a lot worse, especially when we got that arm fatigue sort of report. A lot of Mets fans were jumping to conclusions about a UCL, maybe Tommy John surgery was in the cards. A lot of Mets fans were worried that Kodai Senga was going to be lost for this entire season. With this only being a shoulder strain, obviously still not good news. We'll see if this is just a 1 month sort of injury. We'll see if it extends beyond that. But nonetheless, David Stearns did state, and this is very big optimistic, a big optimistic statement, that he still expects Kodai Senga to make a ton of starts for the New York Mets this season. So at least we have that to work off of. He is going to be back at some point in 2024. We just don't know when. So let me know in the comment section what you all think. I want to open this up to you all as viewers. What do you all think about this injury? And also, what would you like to see the Mets do? I know the consensus is probably going to be that the preference is go sign Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell. But my sort of is, one, that's probably not feasible. And two, we do have competent internal options. Of the internal options that were on the screen, let me know who you all would like to prioritize, whether it's the young guys in Christian Scott or Mike Vasil, or potentially getting some spot starts with Joey Lucchesi, Jose Butto. And let me know your thoughts and opinions on Tyler McGill, because like I said, he has been this fallback option for the New York Mets, for better or for worse. I know a lot of Mets fans have been annoyed with Tyler McGill. He hasn't really taken that step up, but he has a new pitch to display. We'll see it maybe even in 2 days when he makes that initial start in spring training, and we'll go from there. So as always, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, comment your thoughts and opinions, and subscribe to the channel. And you know where to find me for all your latest Mets talk and True Mets Talk podcast updates at CPNY Sports. And as you can see to the right of me, Interstate Mets Report is going live tomorrow, Friday, February 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be joined by Matt from Sunny Days in Flushing. We're going to be talking all about this injury. We're going to be talking about a whole lot more Mets topics. Don't miss out. It's going to be a great episode, a little bit of a nightcap before that opening spring training game on Saturday this weekend. Thank you for rocking with me. It's been your boy CP. We'll continue to monitor the Kodai Senga situation and what the Mets do from here. Peace. Thank you for watching the latest episode of the CP New York Sports Pod. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you hit that thumbs up, comment your thoughts and opinions, and use the lower right-hand button of this video to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.